Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Today is build day 9. Yes, build day 9 on the pool construction project in the backyard of Villa Feliz. I didn't know what day it was for the pool construction. I was like, is it 8? Is it 9? What day is it today? And the only reason I do know is because our foreman for our pool construction team here says, "Oh, sir, it is build day 9." So I guess he's watching. I guess he's watching the videos from his home or temporary location where they're staying in the town next to us. Anyway, we're going to do a little bit out of the ordinary. We are going to start this morning's episode by doing a very short drone overview because we couldn't do flying yesterday. And the reason we couldn't do flying yesterday is because we were sitting under a tropical cyclone condition. We had lots and lots of rain, and we were in a no-fly zone basically because of the rain restrictions. Luckily this morning it cleared up. It did rain all night long. We had lots of rain in the pool, or the hole in the ground, the pool hole in the ground we'll call it right now. And but they came in early this morning and they pumped the water out. We're ready to go, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment because we need to get today's episode started. Now, without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now, I'm sure you can see from the short drone flyover this morning that we had water inside the pool. Not as bad as it could have been. Now, if you were in an area that had a lot of clay content, sort of like Georgia, if you're in the US, you know what I'm talking about, that red clay. It is so compact, it will hold water, and it will be just like a bowl, and it takes a long time to drain. But the good thing about selecting a property that is on a very high elevation like we have right here, it's optimum for an in-ground pool construction because the water just drains so good up here. Now, we had water in this area, and I'm going to point, let me go ahead and turn the camera around so you can see down inside the pool. Now, earlier this morning you saw that this entire area over here, which is the 5-foot section of the swimming pool, this was full of water. I'm not going to say full of water. I'm probably going to say it had about about 10 inches of water, maybe about 10 inches of water, because you could see the separation here. This was all dry this morning. All this did really well, and we've had comments too. Before I go a little further over here, we've had comments about, oh, people are concerned about the palm tree and all the soil's going to break down and it's all going to fall apart. Well, I got to tell you, the soil here is very stable, extremely stable. We also had soil tests when we were doing the building of Villa Feliz over here down in the ground. Since we were building a basement, we had to have specialized soil testing, and it was suitable, it was compatible. It was very good for the type of construction that we did here, which means the soil is very strong, very firm, very supportive, but yet at the same time it's also very good for drainage. It has the properties, all the consistent properties that you need for good drainage, and that, I think that pretty much pertains to most of the land inside the Philippines, because of all this organic matter here that breaks down over millions of years. So anyway, we had about I don't know, about a foot of water set up here. They came in this morning, they pumped it out. So what we're going to talk about this morning real quick, I have an alibi, and for those of you who are in the military or have been associated with the military, you know what the word alibi means. It means you did something, you commented something wrong, you made a mistake, and you're man enough or woman enough to fess up that you made a mistake. Well, I made a mistake in my talking about what I called yesterday. I was calling this a bond beam. I think I've been calling it for the last several days bond beam, but it's not. It's not a bond beam that we're putting down here, and I'll explain what a bond beam actually is. This area down here that we've trenched out, this is going to be for shallow. This is shallow footer support. It's shallow footer support for the concrete hollow block that they are currently starting to move out here, because we're going to be putting that in the ground here really soon. So it will do a support underneath the bottom. It should have two pieces of rebar, steel reinforced rebar inside there. I believe 10 millimeter. They'll space them out. They'll put concrete mix inside there, and it will be the base underneath the wall that's going to be used for the formwork for the swimming pool. Remember, the formwork, which is this concrete, is not the pool. It is only formwork for the pool that will be built inside there. It just gives additional strength and support. So let's talk about bond beam real quick. Now, when you talk about bond beam, the term bond beam is normally used on the top of a swimming pool or a pond, like we did on our pond project back in the USA. If you get a chance to go back and look at that specific project, how to build a koi pond, I explain that, and I show you step-by-step details on that. But there should be a topper. It'll be a topper basically similar to that, but maybe a little wider, with rebar inside it on the top. That should do the form all the way around the swimming pool on the top of the concrete hollow block, and should also go over around where the finish section, where they'll have the steel rebar skeleton and all the cement mix that they're going to be splattering up when they come here. And by the way, that's going to be a ready mix truck that's going to come in. This entire swimming pool inside, once they get all the steel reinforcement skeleton, will all be done in one day. And you have to do it that way because you cannot have any cold joints when you do this, or you'll have cracks inside your wall and you will have leakage. So that will be done. We'll get more into that when we get to that point. So anyway, the top is considered or called a bond beam on the top, the support. And what does that do for you? What does a bond beam do? A bond beam actually holds the top of your swimming pool together so it can't expand or contract. It makes stability on the top. It gives it gives strength. It gives strength to the top of your wall of your swimming pool. Also, it's the basis for your coping when you put your coping on the top. Now, that's the way I understand it. That's the way I've read about it. I'm not the expert on pools. I have built a koi pond before and it's very successful on that one. Still no problems with that, with leaks or any of the electrical or the plumbing. All it is working really good. But we will follow this pool construction team from what they call cradle to grave, the beginning to the end of the project, and we'll discuss each one of the things that they do during the build. Now, whenever you pour any kind of footer or floor beam or anything like that, one of the things that you have to do in preparation before you pour is you have to do what this guy is doing over here. You have to put down gravel. I'm gonna try to get around. Let's see if I can. Well, I think we went on the wrong side over here, but he's got a bucket of gravel. Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's coming over here. So what he will do along the base, before you pour any concrete, you put gravel. You put what's called 3/4 inch gravel. And that's a standard type of gravel that you use with any house construction. You put that underneath your concrete, and it does several things, but the most important things, it allows for drainage, and you don't have anything sitting on raw. You don't have your concrete sitting on raw dirt or mud or anything, which could potentially do a shifting. So that provides for a better build of your footer or your footer support underneath your concrete hollow block. And we talked earlier about the rebar support that's going to go inside the footing that's going around the perimeter for the support for the concrete hollow block. Now, how do you keep that strong? You keep concrete strong with steel reinforcement, which is what we have here. We have steel reinforcement rebar, and it will be spaced using these little pieces of rebar around it, and they call these C-clamps. The C-clamps that will give equal spacing all the way around. It will be elevated. There'll be a spacer that goes up underneath it. This will sit on top. Then the concrete will wrap around here, and it will keep the concrete very strong, and the concrete won't break. Now, something similar to this, but it's like all four sides when you use it inside home construction. They're called stirrups. When you're doing the columns and you wrap them all the way around, and you do a 45-degree wrap around it as well, and that gives the strength for all the columns, vertical column support inside your house. Anyway, that's it for this portion. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to talk about here. I'm going to go and answer some of the questions that people have been asking. I'm going to go to the comment section on the YouTube page, and I'll go to my email and check some emails as well. Let me get that done, and then we'll come back to the pool project here in just a little bit. Okay. So what we're showing here now is they're bending, and they also have the rebar in place in preparation, and they're mixing up the concrete mix that they're going to be putting for the footer support, the CHP footer support. So that's where we are right now. Let me see if I can get around here, get a better picture. Now you can see what they're doing over there right now. They're putting the vertical rebar support inside. So what will happen is they will slide the concrete hollow blocks over those, and we'll have vertical support, and in between the concrete hollow block, and normally it's either every second or third row, they will put horizontal support around as well. So you'll have strength on the vertical and horizontal side of your concrete hollow block, and it will be backfilled inside the empty holes with the concrete mix. So I was asking what the recipe is. When I say recipe, it's their mixture of concrete, like the Portland cement mix, the sand, and the gravel. And what they're using for the footing support is a little different from what you would normally use inside your house. I'm not sure why, but the mixture here for this one, it doesn't have to have the strength that you have for inside the house. It's a very different mixture. Is going to be 1 bag of cement, something similar to Portland cement. Then there's going to be 3 bags of gravel, and then 7 bags of sand. So it's going to be more of a sandy type of a mixture that you're using for the footer support. And remember, this is not for the strength of the whole pool. This is for the stability of the base of the concrete hollow block, which is really not the pool itself. It's not the skeleton of the pool. It's just some support on the back of the pool skeleton and the bowl itself. So what we're doing here, we're trying to find the best place to position the crossbeam. So they're pulling out a section of the concrete hollow block because it will intersect right here. There will be one from that side going across to this side here. This one will meet it as a cross and go over to right about that section here. That will be our cross beam that will give us our base support underneath the center of the bottom of the swimming pool. Now I'm always asked about sizes of rebar, so I'm going to get it out of the way now while we're started. What they're working on now, that's 10 mm rebar that they're working with right now. The 10 mm rebar is going to be used, which has already been used, for the footing support inside the concrete mix, the vertical and the horizontal support for the concrete hollow block. But when they get to the point where they are doing this section here, for the pool itself, all the construction of the pool will be used 12 millimeter. It's a little bit thicker, and it'll be a little bit stronger for support of all the weight of the concrete and the water inside the pool.
Ilang sako sa ito? Pito?
Now, I don't want to jinx. I don't want to jinx anything, but we've been really fortunate with the weather today. Remember yesterday they came out here and they did all the digging in the middle of the cyclone, the tropical cyclone, and got all of that done to be able to do this today. The weather has been very cooperative this morning. As a matter of fact, if you look over my shoulder, you can see I actually have some blue skies. A lot of clouds, but some blue skies. And that's exactly what they need. Anytime you're working with concrete, mixing with concrete, it's good. It's really good to have good weather. Okay, here it is, lunchtime. We're going to take a break and then come back to construction. Let's do just a real quick view down in the hole to see what the concrete hollow bought, how far they've gotten up to lunchtime today. So down inside you can see we're 3 blocks high on probably around, I don't know, about 60% of the deep section here. Wow, on most of the deep section, because this section here starts going over to the 4-foot section. When I say deep section, I mean the 5-foot, which is our deepest. Now you can also see they still left the gap open for the cross beams, and they've also got some support. You see these little bars. I see the little pieces of rebar. About every third concrete hollow block, they have a piece sticking out, and that will be integrated with the skeleton shell that's going to make the actual foundation for the swimming pool here. Okay, well, I'm gonna go get some lunch and we'll come back here in a little bit and we'll continue our coverage of the swim pool construction. So here it is after lunch, and you can see they're on their 3rd row of the concrete hollow block, and they're putting the horizontal rebar support inside there. And I think that's the standard practice, whether you're building houses, whether you're building your wall, your fencing around your house. I think it's always on the third concrete hollow block is where they do that horizontal support, and that's what they're doing here. So now that my gardener is here, he and I dug up, he did most of the digging, I'll tell you that. Well, we dug up the pipe, the PPR pipe for this irrigation head, which is pretty much useless back here anymore since we put the flower bed in here. We need to bring this head out to the front. So let me show you what I have up here to do this correction. And this has a lot to do. I'm telling you, you should always have proper planning. Anticipate what you're going to do. I didn't anticipate it when we first did this, that we were going to have this flower bed out here. We had grass all the way up to the basement. But then we put the flower bed in, which I always love, putting a flower bed around the edge of the house, because the aesthetics are just so nice. But this no longer can water the yard. It's got to go out there. So what I have here, I got a couple of, I have a 90-degree elbow, I got a 45-degree, and what we'll do is we'll use the 90 to bring the head out to just in front of this lemon tree, and then we'll connect up the little head there. Then we'll use a 45-degree from that point, and we'll head out, go in that direction, go towards where my gardener is, Pontiano over there, and we'll make the connection that goes all the way across. I might not have enough PPR pipe, I might have to get another run, but at least we'll have everything prepped and ready for the connection. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll be able to utilize what we have here, since it's shorter from there to here than it is from there all the way to there and back here. Straight line is always the shortest path. Now, this is my fusion welder kit. You've seen me do this in previous videos when we did the irrigation, and I gave kind of a class for those who are unaware how to actually do the welding of these. Very good. This is better, I believe it's better doing fusion welds of plastic to plastic than it is using the PVC cement like we do with PVC pipes, irrigation pipes in the US. They both work. It depends on the pressure. I would trust the pressure, higher pressure on this, because what happens, it becomes one piece. When you weld the pipe that goes inside here, basically it's called welding, but it's you're melting the material, and it all becomes one piece after that one point right there. It's very, very strong. You're probably saying, James, what happened to your backyard? It was so beautiful before. Well, it's going to be beautiful again, but this is the irrigation relocation, the pipe, the PPR pipe. And so, as you can see, I removed this head right here. So you see over here, I put an elbow. That's where the pop-up sprinkler head used to be. There is no longer one there, because once we put inside the garden here, it blocked all the water. So now we put an extension pipe. It will go in this location here. Still have to dig deep enough to bury the head and the irrigation pipe. So I just used another a 45 degree and coupler, and what we'll do is move it here and make the connection to where it comes from the pump, which is over there, but that's the pipe. So I left enough pipe so we can do the final connection after we build the trench. And this is a tip. If you're ever connecting up pipe, don't put it up in the air and connect everything and then try to make it all fit back on the ground again. It's not going to fit in the ground. So all these little humps and everything that you go over, that's extra pipe that you have. My recommendation is get everything in place. You can connect everything up everywhere else, and then what you do is at the very end, once your trench is done, you'll lay the two pieces of pipe down together and you match them up and you lift them up. Then you do your fusion weld and drop it back down again. You make sure you have the cut made for the way it's actually going to sit inside the trench. So okay, so that's done. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do a drone overview real quick. Then we're going to go down inside the pool construction area, and we'll take a look at it inside after we do a drone bird's eye view. I think the drone kind of tells it all. Kind of shows you everything that's been accomplished today. And the big thing about today is we moved into a different territory in the construction process. We moved from digging to concrete hollow block, concrete hollow block, concrete hollow block. That's kind of hard to say 3 times in a row. So anyway, that's what you can see inside here. Concrete hollow block, rebar for structural support, and that's what they're working on right now. And I gotta tell you, I think it's a little bit of a challenge, because normally most of the pool companies around here, when they do the building of the construction, they do the form work with the concrete hollow block and the rebar. It's normally a straight run. It's normally a rectangular pool. But I gotta show you. Let's kind of look. It's a little bit of a challenge, and I know, because when I did the koi pond back in the U.S., it wasn't straight. I had to go around some curves here and there, but it makes for a very interesting design of your pond or your pool. We'll look down. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you see the rebar that's wrapped. That's to support every 3 concrete hollow blocks. They put the 10 mm rebar inside there. And you can see they are wrapping it around, which is going to be the planter for our palm tree in the center of our swimming pool. So you see every place, you see each corner that they have to do. They have to bend and bend and bend. But normally it's just like on a rectangular, it's very simple, just 4 corners. Here you have circles. There's a little bit more complexity to it, but the guys did a great job today, and I'm happy. So tomorrow will be again the same as what we did today, and something that's really exciting, and you can kind of see the stirrups that are already formed. They are ready for doing things like kind of like columns and beams inside your house, but I believe those are for they're going to do support, vertical support in that section there, just like if you build a column inside your house when you're building a wall. You have a floor beam and then you have a column that goes up. And that was important to me. I wasn't sure if this pool company did that, but without me even asking them for it, and it was recommended by somebody else who I respect thoroughly in the construction business, he said make sure that they put some type of a vertical support along with the floor footers, the footing that you're going to have. And I didn't even say anything, and I said, "Oh, you're doing the vertical support of it." And they're like, "Yeah, we're doing that. It's normal." And I'm like, "Oh, great. Okay, so everything seems to be online with protocol for pool building from what I've read. Again, I'm not the expert, but this is where we are today. I expect by tomorrow, most of all the concrete hollow block for the formation of the wall, the outside wall structure, will be done tomorrow, because you see how much they got done today. They even did the footer for the concrete hollow block this morning, so they got all that done before they actually started putting this in. So tomorrow, another day of that kind of stuff. And for me tomorrow, I'm hoping that we can get this irrigation done, and we're complete with this, and we can put the soil back in the ground and the sod back on top of it. It grows very fast, the grass around here. The sod mends very easily. It's very forgiving. So that's for tomorrow. Well, that's it. I'm not going to make this a really long closing today. So I'm kind of, even though I don't do any of the work, just being here watching, it kind of wears you out if you've ever followed along with your own project with some building at your house and having other people do it. So anyway, that's it for today. Tomorrow is another day. I think building day tomorrow is building day 10. I'm pretty sure it is. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please give me a thumbs up. Please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little My PI Dream heart, bottom right hand side of your screen. You will be subscribed and you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So from right here in the Philippines, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.